Hey, welcome back to the channel. I haven't posted one in a while. Had some things to do around the home and the holidays. Hopefully you all had a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. But let's get started. Figured I'd do a run through or kind of tips video on how I go about installing VPX tables. So this video is made on the premise that you've already installed VisualPinball X, PinupPopper. There's extremely informative videos made by Terry Red. He's on YouTube. They're, again, extremely informative. They're step-by-step instructions on loading VPX, PinupPopper. It could be a little intimidating at first, but once you get the basics, it becomes much easier to understand. So don't shy away from it right from the get-go, please. So again, I'm making this video on the premise that you've already gotten this far. It's time to load and adjust some tables to your personal preferences. This is the way I go about doing things. So, if you've installed everything, you should be at this point where VPinball is in your C drive. Open that up. Go to VisualPinball. You have tables, scripts, music, VPinMame. What I like to do is pin it to my quick access. Pinned tables, music, ROMs. There's a separate folder for any files that need a little bit more work, but for the most part, your tables are going to be going in your tables file along with the direct B2S file and POV file, which I'll show you how to create shortly. But that's the gist of it. Also important to know, in VPinball you have scripts. Any downloads that you have that have VBS files go in here. And inside VPinMame, you may have an NVRAM file or an NV file. That is where they go. So keep in mind, those files go here in VPinMame, VisualPinball, VPinball. So let's go to downloads we get started and show you how to install a VisualPinball X table. So you'll want to download your VPX tables from reputable sources. What you'll need to download is the VPX table itself, the B2S, the PUP, if there is a PUP pack, and the ROMs. Some tables need ROM, some do not. In the scripts, it'll tell you. Sometimes when you download them, it'll tell you if you need a ROM for the game and where to get it. Sometimes you have to search it. Something simple as Google. Just so you guys know, the authors spend hundreds of hours designing, replicating, and building these tables. The trustworthy sites support the authors the way things should be, not monetizing their work for personal gain. One site that comes to mind, initials are VPD. Please don't use that site. Stick to the other guys. There's two reputable sites that I use where you can download this stuff and take care of the authors if you feel the need. So I'm not going to show you where to get them. You can easily Google that yourself, but once you download them, this is what you should have. Your ROM files will always look something like this. This one's BK_-L4 or _L4 zip. Get yourself into good practice of right-clicking them, going to properties, and unblock it. And do that for every file you download. You will also need 7-zip to unzip these files. I believe 7-zip does this on its own, but I just got into the habit of doing this for every file that I download. Otherwise, Windows security will attempt to block things. Your tables may not function correctly. So first things first, you want to put your ROM file in your ROMs. I believe I already have this file for another table, so it might say it's replicated it. Yep, say no, skip. Don't need to do that. And then we're gonna unzip this first file with 7-zip. We're gonna extract it here. Same thing with this one. Okay. Another good thing to get in the habit of doing is immediately ensuring that these two names match. I'll show you later on the back glass how to ensure or how to check off matching names. Otherwise, when you have multiple tables, like the Batman tables, there's so many that the B2S or the backglass for the wrong table may pop up. So again, you want to click this, copy, even though it is the same name and looks like it matches, paste, ensure that they match identically. Grab both of those, put them in your tables folder. And go find that table. Where are we? There it is. Black Knight. You're going to right click and open it in edit mode. Okay. Now that you have it open in edit mode, you want to go into the script. And a lot of times you have some table settings, some options up here. Mainly if you want to check to see if the table needs a ROM or not. Again, most of the time it will tell you, sometimes it will not. Look for C game name. Yeah, let's see if we can find it here. You could do a search as well, but it's usually in the table in it right here. C game name. There's the ROM you need. Up at the top, let's give you some table settings. If you need dynamic ball shadowing or not. If this is a VR table, VR or a cabinet, it's already set for cabinets. I don't need to do anything there. So we're done. We can close this out. We can hit play. So as you can see, the table looks good, but POV isn't really set to the ALP properly, the way I would like to imagine seeing the table from my perspective. So once you have the table open, you want to ensure that everything works. So you want to load up the coins, and then want to start it up. Sometimes on initial setup, the table will act wonky. You want to close it out, hit Q twice, and reopen it. That is completely normal on initial run sometimes, but let's open it up again. Again, it functions. Got coins being loaded. Plunger works. Again, table's functioning, right? Sometimes you will get some errors. Again, you can Google most of those errors to attempt to look for a fix. But let's go into POV settings right now. So I did not like the way that looked on the ALP. So what you want to do is hit F6. Again, you're open. You have the table open in edit mode. Click F6. You'll have to set up your buttons how you want. I have my MagnaSaves making the changes, and the flippers also scroll through the actual settings. Your most important settings, I'll show you now. Hold on. You have inclination. See how that adjusts. You have your field of view. I tend to send mine in around 32. Your layback. Your layback is what's going to give you that pinball table view, that angle that you're traditionally used to seeing. So I'd like to see a little bit of the back of my flippers. That's obvious. That's normal when you look at a pinball table. And adjust it to your preferences. Then you have your XY scale. Now your XY scale adjusts total size of the table, as you can see. You want to adjust that as best as possible without going into the individual X and Y scale, because you don't want to change the proportions. So what you can do is you keep scrolling to the right and you get to your X offset and your Y offset. X offset brings it up and down, and Y left to right. So what I want to do here is position this as close as I can to the center. And then what I got to do is go back to my X scale and make a little bit of an adjustment there. Y. Now this is going to stretch it a bit, but again, it's conforming it to the width of my table. So we're going to click Y now. Pardon the sound, that is the DOF solenoids that I installed. They click regardless of if the flippers are actually activating or not, but it does add an excellent feedback to the table. So as you can see, we're clicking it. There we go. So I'm going to go back to layback, make sure that looks good for me. Field of view is at 32, and your inclination's good. So once you have that all set up, you want to quit, hit Q twice, Control S, that will save what you just did, and then you want to go into File, Export, POV. It will create a POV file that has the exact name that matches the B2S file and a table file. Click Save. That's all done. Now, when I reopen this table, that POV setting, point of view setting, has been saved for my ALP. Let's see if it functions. All right. Once you got that loaded in there, you want to open up your PinupPopper config or your PinupPopper setup file. Click to open that wherever you placed it. I have it on my desktop. You want to go into your games manager. From here, you want to add new games. Scan for new games. We have Black Knight there. I'm going to click that here. We're going to add game to the system. One new game was added. X out of here. Playlist config. Now you can set up your own playlist. This is the way I have it set up. I preferably play VisualPinball X. I don't really do any of the others, but you can have separate playlists for Future Pinball and all the others under this playlist home here. So what you want to do is your table will come up here, Black Knight. We're going to add this game. If you were to add something to a playlist, you would just click that playlist and add so on and so forth. Since I'm done here, I'm going to close out of here. You open up your media manager. What you want to do is right click and find next missing. It goes to the current table that you're trying to install. With back glasses, for the most part, they're already there. If you remember what your back glass looked like when you installed it, most of the time it'll be available for you to just download it, and they are 99% of the time matched to the actual image that you have displayed on your current back glass. So I will use these. So this is the one I'm going to choose. I'm going to download and use this video. I do not download playfields, especially with the ALP. Changing the POV obviously affects any type of download anyone has done and uploaded to this so that you can search. So if you want it to look like what it looks like on your ALP, just follow along. Wheel images, yes, very important that you download that from here. You can search it yourself. Most of the time the search will come up on your own. Otherwise, you can just type it in yourself. Let's see here. We have Black Knight 1980. You'll have multiple options. That's 2000. That's good. Let's go with that one right there. I'm going to use that image. Okay. Now, how do we load our own playfield image? We're going to batch.
Welcome to Pinup Auto Record.
Batch auto recording. That's what this will do for you. So here, I don't have a topper. I don't have a DMD, a separate DMD at this point. So what I have is the back glass and playfield. If those two are missing, same thing, follow suit if you have an apron. But if these two are missing, it will find that in the scan and record the image for it. So let's do a scan real quick. Scan shows that Black Knight 1980, Williams 1980, does not have a playfield. So we're going to start auto record. Are we sure? Yes, we are sure. It will load up PinupPopper. It will show the first table that you have on there. Mine's 007. I'm sure for most of you is the same. Otherwise, comment below so I can figure out what would start before 007. The system will automatically load the recording feature for the playfield. And it will prompt you when it's starting.
Now recording playfield.
Just as it just did.
I am now recording you playing with your balls.
It's funny, huh? It will record a predetermined clip. You can play during this, or you can choose not to. I have too many tables. I chose not to play and just let it go through its own little dynamic rest setting. It's, you know, the way pinball tables go through all its lighting.
Recording has stopped. Please wait for encoding. Do not touch system.
And the music cues.
Conversion now done. Enjoy.
And that's it. So there we have.
I am all done. You are most welcome.
Thank you. All right. So we can exit out of here. And that table will now have its own playfield image. You can click here, find next missing. There should be nothing else. And the database, we can close, exit and launch. Let's find black and white. There we have it. So for PUP packs, I didn't get to show you guys since this table didn't have one, but let me show you the folder. So we're gonna go into our Windows, VPinball, Pinup System, PUP videos. Every PUP pack should come with a folder similar to these. And these folders will have everything you need for the PUP pack. So this is where you want to copy and paste it into. It's normally based on the name of the ROM for that game. If it does not have a ROM, then the creator of or the author of the table will have a folder that the script knows to pull from. So let's try and find one here that I loaded recently. So this one's Attack from Mars. When you go in, there's these batch files that you can run. The batch files will have the options. PUP back on full DMD, it'll be PUP back on backglass without DMD or separate DMD. You're going to want to run the option specific to this table. Obviously this one's DMD on backglass. If you have a separate DMD, then again run that batch file specific to your table or your setup. So this is where you want to go to find that. Once you have everything set up in here, everything else is pretty much preloaded. There's nothing else you need to do with most PUP packs. And that's it. One thing I figured I'd show you guys is my Joy to Key setup. So I'm running Joy to Key version 6.7. I have two different profiles. I have one for FX3 and one for VPX. The way I was able to change those settings with the control panel, the arcade control panel on the ALP. If you mirror these settings right here, and a lot of times you can click on this and then just click on the corresponding button and it will match it up. But as you can see here, I'll show you what I currently have set up in my system. Okay. And then I'm also going to show you how I have my keys set up for VPX. And again, you can go through and click each one of these and then click the corresponding button on your control panel, your arcade control panel to match up or have your own setup. Also with my bass shaker and haptics and the solo noise, I have everything, most of these to make sound right now, except for the flippers. I have that set on DOF, so there's no flipper sound on most tables. Again, this only applies to tables that are using controller VBS in their script code. Otherwise, it doesn't really. There's a few tables out of the bunch that I've downloaded that do that, but that's how I have it set up, and everything seems to work flawlessly. I'll put some gameplay of the table we just downloaded coming up.